Hello and welcome to Attention Central Texas. I'm Angela Galbraith, your host, and as always, we have a great show in store for you today. As our guest, we have with us Sonjanete Crossley. Hello, honey.
Hi, dear. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm great.
It's so good to have you. And so
Thank you.
You're with Citizens for Progress.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a little bit about that organization.
Okay. Citizens for Progress is a nonprofit organization in Temple, Texas. It was founded there about 18 years ago with the vision of my husband and a local community social worker director, Judah Morales-Steinheimer, who's now our city councilman.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
My husband was doing a little social working in the community as a side job because he was at the VA more in medical administration. And he did that to help out one of my friends who needed some extra help and needed someone that wasn't afraid to go in the community and make home visits. And so he was doing that, trying to connect people of need with resources. While doing so, he saw a great need in our city being improved on that side of town. East Temple is one of the oldest, historically older areas, and has been predominantly minorities. And so in meeting with Ms. Morales, who was the director of the Help Center at the time, it was an agency that a lot of your businesses, companies statewide would put funding there for electricity assistance, rent assistance, tell you how to get food, all of those kind of needs.
All those
so
programs,
that
yes.
Those programs, they were the leading agency for that, and she had been the director, God, for about 30 years.
Oh my!
Because I met her at the beginning of the infancy of that, because I was a social worker, and we shared a building. And so they started talking about, well, maybe we need a voice, and so they decided to get a group of community people together, pastors, builders, other people that were involved in the progress of Temple. And I was one of the board members also, and we began to say, what can we do? We decided to be an advocate for it and help think outside the box to see what we could do. Get to know our city government, because most of us have been recipients. Yes, because they were not willing. We were just not available to approach them. Had never approached them.
That's wasn't how it was done. But
that's right. Because most of the time you just live in a city and things happen, and you just assume it's going to keep working like it's worked.
Yes, take whatever you've been given.
Thank you. And so we decided, well, let's go find out about our city. Go to city council meetings, because a lot of times we don't go unless we have an issue.
That's right.
And so we said we're going to get involved, go to city council, find out more how government works, and also make appeals to them about our side of the town. If you're silent, you don't get anything.
That's right. That's right.
And so we said we would go and speak with them and ask, when you're allocating funds, would you allocate more for the east side so that we could get better streets, better infrastructure, because we were having plumbing issues, because it was dated, made out of some old materials, things collapsing, roots in it. It was getting real ugly, backing up in houses and stuff. Really, that's ugly.
Yeah, that's very ugly. So no, that
so we just thought this won't do, And it was the population was aging, and so a lot of them weren't going to leave their home, and didn't want to go down and ask city government. So we started being allowed to sit at the table with our city government, have meetings with the city manager, assistant city manager, parks and recreation, sewer, whatever department we had a need for. We went and we started talking.
Y'all were working it,
we were working it. I mean, and after our full-time jobs, we'd meet in the evenings, or we'd have them come to our community meetings, and we ended up having forums later to empower people a few years ago, and getting input to go into the master plan. So we've really been at the table.
Well, amen.
We started learning how you could sign up to be on different committees of the city and have a voice over the whole city.
Yes.
And you don't have to come knowing, you have to come willing to learn and willing to express your opinion. And so we started doing all those kind of things and serving on commissions and boards, all of us in some capacity. And so we generated all that new infrastructure, spoke up for more transportation, like the hot bus coming to Temple, and the little stations for you to wait in out of the elements and things like that. I'm almost overwhelmed with what we've got accomplished by just being a voice and working in collaboration and not adversarial and not competition. And so
I like
that's
that.
how we got
Being an advocate and not an adversary.
Thank you, because most times people
fine
come,
thread.
They come angry, so you don't get
because
a lot
of the
done.
conditions,
right?
You can't.
But you need, I tell them, we need to use our communication skills, not our emotions,
Yes.
And also when we came and were professional and use our less emotion and more, like I said, advocacy, then they started having us at the table with 5-year plan, 10-year plan. We were on committees. We were asked to be on committees all the time. and serve on boards. Like I said, my husband was on several boards. I'm on Building and Standards now. I'm on Reinvestment. I'm on Temple Economic Development
I love it.
Corporation.
Yes.
All of that, but because of attitude and knowledge of the community and willingness to listen and learn and cooperate, you know, and not just put your mouth on stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what you said earlier on.
Yes,
We
because
would go and we would listen.
That's right, listen,
would,
because
yeah.
I'm saying we can go in empty and leave full.
That's
you know?
right, that's right.
I said you don't have to know everything, but you need to know a lot of people.
Yes.
And so
Not
I
what you
thought,
know, it's who you know.
It's who
that
you know.
still
and
stands.
I said, it works. And
Yes.
I thought, you know, and you don't have to feel bad if you're ignorant in that area, but I'm only that because I haven't been exposed.
That's right.
Once I learn, then I'm informed, okay?
Yes.
And so I've learned a whole lot about my city. I was a recipient for all my life. I'm from Temple, and my husband was from Arkansas and had been former military, but we thought you have not because you ask not.
There you go. That's what the Bible says.
Thank you, because my husband was a pastor, and we had been in ministry all our lives. We said we should be able to represent with peace, be a peacemaker, and go in and ask. And so that earned us respect with our community and still has, and we're still asking. And so even now, they're naming a community after my husband.
Really?
My husband died 7/7/14, 4 years ago this month, secondary to cancer. But he was an advocate. Our agency says together we make a difference. So we were about partnerships and collaboration and not competition. And so
together we make a difference.
Together we make a difference. We all get together, and I said, and I told him,
what could we do?
You know,
what could
we can do
build?
more
What
with a
could we
fist than a
accomplish?
finger.
Yes.
Pointing fingers,
Yes.
but a fist gets stuff done. And so with one of our board members who's a builder in Temple and has quite a bit of properties, he decided to see if he could build in collaboration with Habitat, Keep Temple Beautiful, the City of Temple, and numerous other entities, your private corporations, a community for 26 homes for veterans.
Awesome.
It's a pilot program, and we hope to see it replicated. But they're like the size of a duplex. They're about 600 square feet thereabout, and 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And we're in the process of building that. Started like in March. It'll be finished in the fall. But we're finding veterans that were homeless and near homeless, and we're giving them a place to live, a community on a cul-de-sac that they can be with each other and feel quite comfortable. The community center. All the good things, you know, homeowners association, where they don't have to worry about their grass, got a little fence. It's just a compact community, and we welcome people to come see it in Temple, in East Temple. But we're building that, and they'll be in there for less than $500 a month.
Oh, wow.
Plus utilities, and so they have to go through a application
Qualification program process.
And we got banks working with us. I mean, it is like nothing you've ever seen.
Look at God.
It is God. It is
Look
God.
at God.
And so we, we have people applying for that, veterans, male or female, or a couple if you like small spaces, because this is not.
But it's a roof.
It's a roof.
It's a roof.
And some people like the tiny home, so you'll like this because if you don't have a lot of clutter and stuff in storage. Okay. Anyway, so we're building that, and so they decided to name it after my husband because he was a disabled vet. And it's for veterans. And so I'm just delighted because he didn't live to see this, but this is a part of his vision.
But his legacy is still being carried on. What's his name?
Yes, it is. Lee Crossley.
Lee Crossley.
Yes, and so he wanted to rebuild where it had infrastructure, rebuild where houses have been taken down because of age. And so we're building on some property that the Habitat had access to because they built some homes there. So God is doing great things in Temple.
Yes, He is.
Through Citizens for Progress, which is a name. It's saying we get citizens together and we make progress happen.
There you go.
So we're excited.
I like the fact that you all guys, you said that you and your husband were in ministry, you were pastors, but you're just not pulpit pastors. You were hands-on.
Yes.
Out in the trenches doing the work.
He said, marketplace. He said, take it from the church, 4 walls of the church, to the streets.
That's right.
And so it's marketplace. He used to preach about marketplace ministry. And so that's what we did. We said, we're taking all the principles we've learned, all the things God said would happen. We've preached enough. It's time to be about it.
About it, yes.
It's about taking our religious our spiritual strengths and go to the community and with our secular knowledge. Yes, application. Let's create something.
Yes.
You know, we have wisdom, we have great knowledge, we have great skill sets. It's time for us to go put them into action.
Yeah, become a church without walls.
That's it. And so that's what we've done. And we've had Christian bikers, you name it. We've got, the Ralph Wilsons, they're donating a lot of the materials for inside, granite cabinets and all of the things in the bathrooms. And people are just giving. Giving.
That
The
is
giving
awesome.
back and pouring into people's lives. And he says, well, you know, when you're sowing and reaping, it's principles to
It's
it.
principles,
and
yes.
so we're acting out.
Biblical principles,
To me,
yes.
we're actually bringing the print off the white pages of the Bible.
Girl.
That black print is raising off the hallelujah.
Yes.
Raising
Yes.
off the paper. And we're doing God's business. Not talking about
Not
it.
just talking about it, but you're
We are
being about it. Oh, my
and
goodness.
so, been in ministry
Ooh,
all
that
my
blesses
life.
me. That blesses me.
Being in ministry all my life, because I was a preacher's kid, preacher's wife, and then preacher's mother, because my son's my pastor. But this is the era we're in now. This is the time that we have something to give.
Yes.
All of us. And so that's why it's not competition, because people don't have to be hating on folks.
No, because it's so much, the need is so great.
So much
Yeah,
to do,
the
and the
need is so great, yes.
And everybody has something they can bring to the table. And the things we're seeing manifested, we got people that want to videotape what has happened and put it all over the world. It is
Good, good.
bringing all these people together, say, see what we can do when we bring our values and the ethics of God to the table.
And the love.
And God told me it's a place of healing and restoration. This village is a place. This community is going to be a place
it's
of
more
healing.
than just physical shelter.
Thank you. It's spiritual. On the groundbreaking days, I said what God told me. He said it's a place of healing and restoration for people that have been impaired because of service. They've seen things that we didn't see and done things that we didn't do. And then you come back and you don't fit in quite the
Right.
same. And you need a place that if I'm having a bad day, I don't have to explain that to you.
That's right.
Because you
already
feel
know.
me. You already know.
You already know.
So the place we're creating is a place like that, that if I have that day, my neighbors will be sensitive to that.
They understand.
They don't have a problem with that.
They understand,
They
for real.
understand, and they can support me in that. And so they have a place to meet. And you don't even have to talk. You know how sometimes you
Yes.
just want to just feel
Just
each
sit
other,
there.
just sit there and you
In
feel
silence and
in
just feel each
silence, and
other.
nobody's saying what's wrong with you. Nobody.
Words are not necessary, because
Thank
what's
you.
understood doesn't have to be
Thank you.
explained.
That's it. That's it. And so now, services can come to the veterans there. The transportation that they have to and from the VA, it's just so convenient. It'll be where the social workers, everybody can come and see that many veterans at one time and meet a need. Because sometimes they can't get past certain things to go to the hospital.
Right.
And so the hospital services
One
can
of
come
those
to
days,
them. One of those days, I just
Yeah.
can't leave the room. I can't leave the
do it
porch.
today.
I can't do it today. But if you come to me, and haven't been a social worker, I made home visits. I went to people, went in some places where they needed me. I was the bolder one. I could do it. So that's where we are now with this community and with our agency. We're going to keep on doing what God has told us to do. And we make a difference.
Yes, you are. Sounds like you are.
make
And
a
I love the
difference.
fact that you're so passionate about it.
I am.
You're very passionate about it. That's clear,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's very obvious that God's hand is upon this.
ma'am.
That
Yes,
God's hand
ma'am.
is upon you. Went to the Father and got the instructions.
ma'am.
So let's do it now.
Yes, just hear his voice.
That's it.
And that's what we do. Because when my husband was dying, he said, what's going to happen? I said, we're going to make it. I'm going to make it, your family and the church. And I said, and Citizens of Progress is going to another dimension. And really we have. We've
Well,
stepped into another
the
dimension.
good work was started.
It was because he was a
It
birther.
started, yes.
He was a birther.
And that's what it's supposed to do.
Yes,
You lead it, and
yes.
somebody else picks it up and carries it on.
Grab it,
Yeah.
Pass
Well,
the baton.
That's right. So I thank God for you, and I thank God for your
Thank
passion
you.
and the work that
Thank
you're
you.
doing in Temple, Texas.
Thank
And I
you.
bid you and Citizens for Progress Godspeed.
Thank you,
And I want to
dear.
thank you, our viewing audience. Tune in next time.